Previously on Spider-Girl. Peter and Mary Jane Parker's teenage daughter Mayday discovered her family legacy when she suddenly developed spider-like superpowers. Her parents forbade her from heroics, but after a battle with a new Green Goblin, Mayday learned she could use her new powers to help those in need, so she decided to become a secret vigilante anyway. May made some new friends in her new hobby, like the Fantastic Five and family friend / ex-hero Phil Urich. But mostly, she faced new foes like the mysterious Mr. Nobody and the Dragon King. Not all enemies were external, as one of May's biggest challenges was facing her own inner doubts brought out by the Hellfire hero Darkdevil. But with renewed resolve, she even defeated the sinister symbiote Venom, a fight where she saved her father's life, yet Peter still won't condone his daughter in danger. A stance he failed to convey to Phil, who now believes he's to train Mayday in the art of superheroics. Let's see how that goes. Last time we got up to issue 5, and issue 6 looks like it's about to introduce a new friend, or perhaps foe, into May's life. A daring bank heist is thwarted by the newest hero on the block, the lethal yet lovely Ladyhawk sick bike dude. Despite not having wings or an nth metal mace, Ladyhawk handles herself pretty well. She kicks all kinds of goon ass and even leaves the police a cheeky note. But hang on a second, up here, where she says Dayton is gruesome in prison, is she implying what I think she's implying? If it can happen to Wilson Fisk, it can happen to anyone. Meanwhile, in a secret warehouse base, our hero Mayday Parker is in the thick of superhero training with Uncle Phil, not that one. And she's doing great, training like a Jedi, dodging obstacles blind, and disarming her opponent without any fuss. But even though she's smashing it now, it'll still be years until her guardians let her resume the role of Spider-Girl. Even cool Uncle Phil refuses to make this a crash course, and May is gutted. May is also starting to suspect that Phil has confused her dad's reluctance with permission because Peter keeps going off at news of young superheroes like Ladyhawk, but May keeps that to herself, not been grassing herself in. Her dad still hasn't returned a costume either, so he can't be that into the idea. Later on at school, the hero on everyone's minds is still Spider-Girl after she saved the students from Dragon King. Her friends discuss the idea that the webhead is one of them, blaming the dorky Courtney, but the talk of costumed identities does get May thinking, what if she made an all-new persona, one that no one, not mum and dad, not Phil, no one could link to May? Peter himself did something like this once in Identity Crisis. But who could May bounce these ideas off of? Who would understand? Ah, of course, he would understand. Oh, it's Franklin Richards. But he's not going to be much use here, is he? He's never had a secret identity, so he's not given much thought to how a masked Avenger would represent themselves. Nice gym gear, mate. And anyway, Franklin says that the branding doesn't matter nearly as much as the good they accomplish. Wise words from a young fella. His parents must have raised him pretty well. And he mentions he has fun hanging with Mayday. Hubba hubba. Spider Sense, Ladyhawk. Ah, mate, she spotted a masked athlete bounding across rooftops. Of course she's gonna think it's some burglar. Ladyhawk attacks. She doesn't believe May when she tells her she's Spider-Girl, so it's looking like we've got a cat fight, fellas. Someone, please, get the cream. Ladyhawk has the advantage in equipment like gas grenades and hoop traps, but lady, come on. This is Spider-Girl. Mayday tears free of the trap and lands a good boot to Ladyhawk's head. But she still doesn't yield. Instead, she runs away to lure the currently webless wonder into a trap. May stalks her new enemy and is led right to the same warehouse she's been working out with Uncle Phil. Why would Ladyhawk lead her here? Does she know about the woman beneath the wall crawling? And what about this supposed ace-up Ladyhawk's sleeve? Spider Sense! Another beaky beatdown comes from Ladyhawk, but she seems faster and stronger than she was a few moments ago. The fake feathered female seems fresh for this fight, and that's because she is. There's 2 Ladyhawks. Twin sisters share the mantle, and now Mayday's getting double trouble. but fancy footwork evades this dynamic duo long enough for May to grab one. As our hostage, May? I thought we were trying to convince them we were good girls. Good thing Uncle Phil's here to do it for us. The Parkers aren't the only super family the Heoriches are buddies with. Runs in the family because his uncle used to be mates with Daredevil. But just who are these sharply taloned tag team? The Ladyhawks share the secret identity to bolster their arrest numbers, planning to get rich and famous enough to create the best crime lab in New York, only to make the streets safer, thanks to the legal wrangling of their lawyer, Phil's wife Meredith. So they are in it for justice, they just need money first. I can relate. Phil tries to get a Marvel team-up thing going with the girls, but with friends like these, who needs enemies? After getting off on the wrong foot and having that foot fly at each other's faces, there's no chance. All this happened because May doesn't have her costume, and that's brought a sad thought to her mind now. Will she ever wear it again? Issue 6 brings up a fun idea, how different heroes react to their own costumed personas. Franklin Richards has no other life, he's always been public, so every move he makes has his name on it from the start. The Ladyhawks wanted to use their costumed identity to cash in, become a brand, and reap the rewards. Peter Parker himself once wanted to do the same until he learned about power and responsibility. And Mayday, tragically, only wants her costume for the right reasons, to help people, and yet she's the only one denied. That question plaguing May gets answered in issue 8, and Nova is kinda like Marvel's Green Lantern but with less cool powers. He does have a cool helmet though. Jesus Christ, again May! Our hero's lack of a cobwebbed costume has again drawn the attention of a misunderstanding mask, only this time it's the horn-headed Hellfire hero, Darkdevil. I know Darkdevil's meant to be a dick, but I can't help but think he's just funny. He's clearly taking the piss out of May here, claiming that any good hero would question a ski-masked stranger running along the rooftops. May can't even shut him up, because all she hits are flame constructs. Maybe Darkdevil's kinda like Green Lantern too? It's not just with a mask on that May's getting grief as well. Her father still refuses to discuss her responsibilities, even with a mother, Mary Jane, on her side. How can she prove to Peter she's worthy of her webs? At school, she's only focused on getting back to superheroics. The spectre of Spider-Girl has taken her over to the point where Mayday starts to fall through the cracks. Her nerdy mate Jimmy is turned down when he asks her to a dance, and the rivalry with Big Moose Mansfield is sparked anew. Everyone but Mayday thinks she can't handle the great power and responsibility she's been thrust into. Peter, MJ and Uncle Phil. But there's one figure in her life that does want her back on the streets sooner rather than later. Spider sense tingles. But all May sees is smoke. Back at school, May hears trouble brewing. Jimmy, Yammer and Moose are gonna throw down in the park after school. Have you seen Jimmy? He's gonna get slaughtered. He's gonna need a hero. He's gonna need... Well, we don't have the costume, but we are still Spider-Girl. May makes tracks across New York to stop the scrap before Jimmy gets flat. Spider-Sense! Oh, Darkdevil, you cheeky bugger.
Did I frighten you, child? Too bad. You should know better than to prowl the rooftops dressed like a common burglar. Especially considering your predecessor's particular fondness for burglars.
Darkdevil, hi. Based on that oh-so-subtle remark, you obviously recognise me. Fine, that means we can skip the usual gratuitous identity establishing fight. Look, I hate to banter and run, but I'm in a real rush. How's about we save your brand of tough love encouragement for another occasion?
You know I won't let you off that easy. Based on your current attire, I'd say your commitment to the heroic life is wavering. That's probably for the best, little girl. I never thought you had the right stuff anyway.
Get off my back and out of my way. I'm sorry, Darkdevil, but you leave me no choice. A friend of mine could be hospitalised if I don't arrive in time.
You should have thought about that before...
Wow, that was easy. Almost too easy. If you didn't know any better, you'd almost suspect... Oh no!
Christ, between Darkdevil, Ladyhawk and now this, May's nearly fought as many heroes as she's fought villains. She suddenly has a new enemy, the high-flying Nova. Nova's just witnessed her defeat of his fellow hero Darkdevil, but this mistress of misdeeds won't be able to outshine Nova. Classic superhero misunderstanding this. Nova is a powerhouse, but Mayday isn't too bad herself. She uses her spider agility to leap onto the human rocket's back and hitches a ride across town. But while May plays with the new Avengers, Jimmy and Moose finally have their fight, but miraculously, it's Moose that gets flattened. Jimmy lands one on Moose's neck and almost kills him. Someone, ring an ambulance. Back to the supers. In this future, Nova is actually a top level hero. He handled the Annihilation Wave, so he can surely handle a webless Mayday. All the spiderless girl can do is dodge and pray. Is this a premature ejaculation joke? Last volume had a period joke, and now this. Nova is so distracted by May's filthy mind, he almost crashes into a skyscraper, giving Parker the chance to duck out of the hero's sight and hide. And it works! Nova gives up the chase when a nearby building suddenly goes up in flames, but those fires are falsified by the demonic do-gooder Darkdevil. This whole thing was a test and May managed to pass this time, but it only gets harder from here. Darkdevil's parting advice is for May to get serious, either do the hero thing right, or don't do it at all. Finally at the hospital, May finds out about Moose. He'll live, but it was a close one. They sure could have used a hero. Mayday is sick of messing around. She needs to be Spider-Girl no matter what her father thinks, with Darkdevil's taunts ringing in her ears. It's time to get serious. Later that night, May is caught by her mum, snooping in the attic searching for a confiscated costume and understanding her daughter's desire to help people. Mary Jane tells May the story of Spider-Man. From Uncle Ben's tragic death to Peter's constant struggle to maintain two lives, she tells of all the chances he had to quit only to be drawn back into the fight when another villain tried to hurt people. Hey cool, Sandman? Even when they got pregnant, Peter's great power gave him a responsibility to the people. Then, the Green Goblin returned. In one final spectacular showdown, Spider-Man finally defeated his ultimate enemy, but at the cost of his right leg. The Fantastic Four's Reed Richards began to design a replacement, but Spider-Man had spun his last web. His ultimate responsibility was to his child. Peter finally put his costume away for good. Mayday is shocked to learn that she's the reason her father quit being Spider-Man, but Mary Jane is just somber. She hands Mayday her costume, letting the girl make her own decision, like her dad had all those years ago. Seems like Mayday can't get away from Darkdevil's little tests. He takes every opportunity to have a show in what she's got. May's life continues to drift away from her because she's hyper-focused on being Spider-Girl. Now her school life's going off the rails because she's spending all the time imagining how to convince her father. Speaking of her dad, the highlight of this issue was the backstory on Peter's decision. Parenthood is the ultimate responsibility, and the character is all about responsibility. I see fatherhood as the only thing that would ever have Peter retire for good. But whether there's a Spider-Man or not, there's still trouble, as we see in issue 8. Mayday is finally back in her webs and she couldn't be happier, but there is one tiny problem. She still hasn't gotten her father's permission. She plans to sit Daddy down today, one-on-one, and figure everything out once and for all, finally earning the right to call herself Spider-Girl. But before she can, her mate Courtney busts in with bad news. Jimmy Yammer has been arrested. His brawl with Moose has forced Manfield's mum to grass Jimmy up to the busies. Luckily, Jimmy's aunt is a lawyer and Peter himself offers to go have words. So they all make their way down to the courthouse, but the trial will be Spider-Girl's, because an old king holds this court. Colour me shocked. I never would have guessed that the Rikers kitchen staff served their inmates steamed scallops with garlic sauce.
It's off the usual breakfast menu, but I doubt that even Mr. Nobody would risk entering a prison merely to discuss my dietary indulgences.
There isn't much risk when you can teleport at will, but you're right, sir. I just dropped in to tell you that today's big snatch will go down as planned. But there are much easier ways to acquire the target.
That is quite true. However, my current circumstances require me to occasionally remind the world that I am still the Kingpin of Crime. And whenever the mood strikes, I can still reach out to anyone, anywhere, at any time.
At the courthouse, Peter and May were worried for nothing as Moose himself calls his parents off. He did start the fight after all. Courtney gives him some shit, but Mayday's distracted by a sudden, gentle spider sense. Crazy 8, one of Mayday's first original supervillains. Today is his trial, and that snooker-styled psycho is finally gonna pay for his oh, for God's sake, Mr. Nobody strikes! What's Wilson Fisk want with this green goon? Nobody can't just teleport back out of danger because he's got a weight limit, so these two are gonna have to get out the dirty way, no matter what innocents get caught in the crossfire. Courtney panics and legs it to hide in the ladies' room, but never fear, Spider-Girl is here. Moose spots Courtney enter, and the webbed wonder leave, but that's a plot point for later. There's arses to be kicked. Oh shit, her dad? Peter concedes the need for a costume crusader in this crisis, so she can tackle the villains without guilt. A novel idea for a spider-person. Ooh, but both baddies remember her. Peter watches as his little girl handles herself fine, keeping the civilians safe and holding off 2 supervillains at once. Hell, after this, he'll have no choice but to accept her new role as Spider-Girl. If she survives, Mr. Nobody gets the drop on her, but Puny Parker gets a hit in himself. First time since Norman Osborn he's had to get his knuckles bloody. That's a bit embarrassing, May. And in front of Dad too. Maybe he's right and you're not ready for this. But ready or not, it needs doing. Crazy 8 and Mr. Nobody can't handle the web-headed heroine, so Nobody gets desperate. He's gonna buy the time they need to escape by shooting into the crowd of innocents. But before he can pull the trigger, May goes on the offensive. To keep the people safe, she tears into Nobody with her spider strength, damaging what seems to be the source of his powers, a teleportation device built into his costume. 1 down, 8 to go. The loony squares up to Peter Parker, but this isn't the first maniac in green Parker's faced. He takes Crazy 8 down hard and fast. Spectacular. Villains are one thing, a disappointed dad is another. May retreats to change back into a civilian persona as Courtney rejoins their friends, and Moose is positive that his dorky mate is the new web-slinger. Oh, and also, he's still not matey with Jimmy Yammer, he just didn't want him bummed in prison. Looks like everything's back to how it should be for Mayday. Almost anyway. But the villains were foiled at least. The pawns anyway. But their master might still get checkmated yet.
You're late. I've been waiting for your report.
Bad news, big boy. Mr. Nobody just couldn't make it tonight. You'll have to make do with a last-minute substitution.
Darkdevil, I won't insult your intelligence by pretending to be pleased by this visit. What do you want? I thought our business concluded with my conviction.
Our business will never be concluded, but that's not why I'm here. I'm afraid things did not go well at the courthouse this afternoon, thanks to a young associate of mine. And based on today's foolishness, it's obvious that you need an important reminder, old friend. I can still reach you wherever you are, whenever I choose.
Peter finally realizes that this Spider-Girl thing is not gonna just go away. If his daughter's gonna be a superhero, she's gonna have the training to do it right. So finally, Peter Parker gives his blessing. Finally, dude, 8 issues in and the dad plot is resolved. She only had to save him from 3 different villains on 3 different occasions. No offense to Uncle Phil, but with Peter on board, May should finally get some real training from one of Earth's greatest heroes. Always a pleasure seeing Big Willie too, and his relationship with the new Man Without Fear is defo something I want to see explored as we learn more about Darkdevil going forward. But for now, there's a new villain in town, and Mayday's gonna get rocked and shocked. Well, Peter, what's up, mate? Did you lose the wheat cake recipe? Did you find out another dark secret of Gwen Stacy? Is Skip back in town? Oh no, it's just that May isn't thwipping up to his standards. Tougher and faster than Uncle Phil's training ever was. May can't keep up with her spectacular spider dad's rough training routine. Mayday's knackered, and now she's got to go to school as well. Funny how Darkdevil's bullying and the risk of death never swayed May as much as missing sleep. She's not missing much at school anyway, just Jimmy acting like Mr. Big Balls because he laid out Moose. But rightfully, no one believes he's as cool as he thinks he is. His invitation to tonight's concert is blown off by May and Davida. Lunch break means more training, but on her way back to school, a flashy new villain brings the noise.
What's with you people? Didn't I go out of my way to warn you not to set off that stupid alarm? You only have yourselves to blame for the major zapping now heading your way. What a rush! Those stupid badgers never knew what hit them. I am so into this power thing. Anything I want is mine for the taking. I pity the poor fool who tries to give me any tune. Someday, I'm gonna line up every dude who ever dissed me and kick major booty.
Every man needs a dream.
Who are you?
If the webs on my face and spider on my chest didn't clue you in, I really need to hire a press agent.
Take a hike, lady. I got no interest in fighting you. Leave me alone or I'll roast your pretty little rump as easy as I flash fried these useless webs.
Hey! Keep your zap bolts to yourself, mister. I don't allow just anyone to mess with my webs. And you should be ashamed of yourself for mentioning my rump.
This Electro wannabe is named KillerWatt, a high voltage villain out for himself. Mayday can dodge his punches, but can she dodge lightning? He might not be as dumb as he looks as well, because he supercharges the floor, knowing May will have to touch the ground at some point. Oh shit, he's done it! He's actually defeated Spider-Girl. KillerWatt reaches for her mask. But fire meets lightning as the man who gives fear, Darkdevil, steps in. KillerWatt legs it, not wanting to mess with another super, especially one as scary as Double D. May reawakens, but in shame, as Darkdevil calls her out for being reckless. She'll have to do a lot better next time. May returns to school and Moose is about to do Jimmy in for all the bragging he's been doing when Courtney appears to tell him off. Moose backs right off for two reasons. One, he thinks Courtney is Spider-Girl, and two, he's actually starting to fancy her. Love is in the air at Midtown because May too is approached by teen heartthrob Brad. Oh my god, is he about to ask May to the concert? Does he like her? Friggin' Jimmy Yammer, he interrupts the moment to ask her out himself. But now, May has had enough of Jimmy's showing off. Else she's not going to go to the concert at all now. The realities of his daughter being a costumed crime fighter set in for Peter as the news reports of an unknown heroine raiding a terrorist stronghold. This time it was the Avenger, the sensational Stinger. But what about next time? May goes swinging to clear her head, but that's just another excuse for Darkdevil to take the piss. Or is it? He's actually helpful this time as he subtly points May towards that public concert all her classmates are attending, where the crackpot KillerWatt makes an encore.
Creep, flakes, and morons.
Sounds like your kind of people, but I take it you're not a fan.
No way. I used to crew for this band, the #1 roadie, but they just treated me like garbage. They used to dog me, every time their cheap button equipment would go freaky. In fact, that's kinda how I got zapped. I could have been fried to a crisp. But hey, I ain't complaining. The accident made a new man out of me. And now I'm gonna show these wastes how grateful I am.
Excuse me, in case you haven't noticed, I'm the hero of this piece. It's my job to stop you.
You're like Welcome to Try.
KillerWatt is trying to take revenge on the band that made him do his job, but Spider-Girl instead makes Watt face the music. Using the training she's gotten from her father and Uncle Phil, spurred on by Darkdevil's mock and taunts, Spider-Girl shuts KillerWatt down, and in front of a crowd of cheering peers as well. Again, the mysterious Darkdevil's tough love has made Spider-Girl a better hero, but just who is the masked ghost? A question for next time, because now, May's gonna go home and get some well-earned rest. But not too much, because there's trouble in the friendly neighbourhood once again. Parker family training continues, but Peter doesn't let his little girl prove himself. He steps in too early, he's too strict, he just won't give her a real chance. Stress at home is compounded by stress at school. Jimmy is still acting like a knobhead. Moose is about ready to break his jabbering jaw, and the only person who seems to have the balls to stop him is Mayday. But, strangely, it's Courtney's scolding that makes Moose back off. But still, between her mates all acting like idiots and a dad breathing down a masked neck, Mayday needs to blow off some steam, and the best way to do that is web swinging. And she bumps into a superhero buddy and total cutie, Franklin Richards, Psylord of the Fantastic Five, and my god, he's actually happy to see May. Ooh girl. Ah, the villain that they both tackled a few weeks ago, the interdimensionally displaced deviant known as Spiral, has escaped. No doubt he'll be back to his high-tech crimes before long. But Franklin doesn't want help in apprehending Spiral. In fact, he wants May to stay out of the way. The cheek, the gall. How rude. May jumps off in a huff. She'll show him. She'll show them all. Well, look who's found Spiral first. Suck on that, Psy loser. Once again, Spiral is trying to breach dimensional walls to get to his home reality. He just wants to get home, but not if Spider-Girl has anything to say about it. Just before Spiral can escape this plane of existence, Spider-Girl tackles him. She's got something to prove, to Franklin, to Peter, to herself, but her momentum swings both her and the baddie into his quantum tunnel. The world of MC2 fades away into a sickly lime colour. Waves and waves of dimensional energy wash Mayday until a blink of green turns to smoke. Disorientated, May takes in her surroundings. It's the same warehouse, but on fire. Spiral's dimensional vortex must have blown a fuse or something, because the warehouse burns around her. Move it, Spidey, move it. Embarrassed by her failure, May returns to school, dodging heckling citizens along the way, but when she lands on campus, she sees a terrifyingly familiar face. Peter Parker. The penciler for this issue, Pat Olliffe, even gave them the same bags under their eyes. There's no mistaking it. We've been blasted decades into the past. This is Mayday's own father. Young, no facial hair, 2 legs. This is heavy. May doesn't know how it's happened, but this is her chance to get to know the man her father used to be, to get to see the original Webhead in action. And Peter sure sees some action, because school trollop Liz Allen is already sniffing around. Jealous of another woman showing Peter attention as well. That's the Green Goblin's daughter-in-law, wife, and mother. Jesus, did that girl ever have sanity? May's plan is to follow Peter Parker until he changes into his Spidey suit, and then ask for his help. He's the world's greatest superhero, surely he's got a time machine, right? Wait, why is he looking around like that? Oh shit, you don't think we've accidentally triggered his spider? It's him! The amazing, spectacular, friendly neighbourhood Spider-Man himself. And he's not happy that we're stealing his trademark. Luckily, May has all his powers. She uses her own spider strength and speed and sense to stay out of the original Wallcrawler's grasp. But this is teen Spidey, he's hot-blooded, and he doesn't listen to May's explanation. Before the brawl gets too brutal, some random punk tries to mug someone's nan, so Spider-Man swings to the rescue, giving Spider-Girl enough time to shamefully escape. At least she acknowledges she probably should have gone and helped. Stranded in the past, she doesn't know what she should do next. Risking another family meeting could damage the timeline Back to the Future style. She doesn't know enough about the swinging 60s to know what hero she can go and rely on. She can't even warn the police about Nick Lowe. So all she does is hide in the school overnight and plan. And the next morning, she has that plan. She's going to tell Peter she's from an alternate universe and that she needs help hunting Spiral down to get home. But it's another Parker she finds first. Aunt May. Great Scott. Get ready everyone, she's going to fake a heart attack any second now. But where is Peter then? Peter's at the Daily Bugle, where a man with a very fabulous contraption is making a sales pitch to Jolly Jonah Jameson. We got JJ, yes! Spencer Smythe, not his creepy son Alistair, has created a surefire way for JJ to squash Spider-Man permanently. The Spider Slayer. Meanwhile, May gets to know her namesake. Aunt May's been dead for decades in May's life, but this is kinda like meeting your dead nan, it's quite nice. And she secures her berth in the timeline by encouraging Aunt May to set Peter up with Mary Jane. Actually, both Mays inspire each other to keep up the good work. Mayday decides to web back up and get busy finding her foe Spiral, so she can get home without needing 1.21 gigawatts. But as Mayday suits up, it's a different rogue that finds her first. The spider-seeking sensors of the Spider Slayer robot put Mayday square in the sights of J. Jonah Jameson. Stan, it's Ryan. Your cousin, Skull Ryan Lee? You know that new story you're looking for? Well, listen to this! Mate, Mayday has got spider speed, a thing she can dodge a robot from the 60s. Hilariously though, Jonah notices her feminine form and is fuming at the idea that Spidey's been taking the piss and has been a girl all along. This despicable deception fuels Jonah's fire, but May makes her escape anyway. Now she just needs to regroup with her dad and slay the Spider Slayer. But instead, the situation heats up even more when Johnny Storm appears out of nowhere. Human Torch, world's greatest hero in May's time. Surely he can help get her home. Ah, nah mate, he's far too hot-headed to listen to May's convoluted tale of time travel. Johnny realises this isn't Spider-Man he's talking to, and he demands answers that May isn't in a position to give. So once again, May adds another hero to her hit list. Again, Mayday, really? Are you sure you want to be a superhero? Where'd that Spider Slayer go? It's abandoned chasing May because it's locked onto another arachnid energy reading at Midtown High. Better get your mask on, Pete. Despite appearances, Mayday is just trying to do what's right. Just like in her fight with Nova, she doesn't want to fight her fellow do-gooders. So she uses the city itself to douse the Human Torch's flames. She dips him in wet cement and absolutely legs it. Ducking into a nearby office building, one quick change is all it takes and Mayday walks away from her fantastic foe unsinged. That's a win in itself, keeping ahead of the Human Torch. Still desperate to help her father against Spencer Smythe's sinister circuitry, May returns to the Parker house, but again, Peter is not the Parker she finds there. In fact, who she meets now isn't a Parker at all. Yet. It's her own mother. Mayday speaks to teenage Mary Jane and is shocked to see she's not at all the woman who raised her. She's a wild party girl. Looks like Peter isn't the only one who's changed for May's sake. Meeting her parents' past selves have given May an appreciation for all they do. She realises all they've been through and knows now that they're so afraid for her because they've been in her exact situation and know how messy it can get. Speaking of messy, looks like Smythe's Spider Slayer is about to do exactly what it says on the tin. It's ensnared our friendly neighbourhood wall crawler, but as Jolly J. Jonah removes the mask, he's furious to see he's been bamboozled. For those wondering, this tracks exactly with what happens in Amazing Spider-Man issue 25. And it was bloody hilarious there as well. Better luck next time, JJ. Of course, we still have the small problem of Spider-Girl. The original wall crawler catches back up with his #1 fan. The powers make them evenly matched, but May's been trained by her opponent's future counterpart. She lands a few unwilling hits on her dad as Peter suggests that she just surrender. But how can she explain her way out of this mess? Would they even believe her? And, of course, this escalates with the return of the Human Torch. Johnny isn't the smartest of the Fantastic Four, but he still doesn't like being made a fool of. Two of the universe's greatest heroes do a Marvel team up to take in the sinister Spider-Girl, mate. She's got no chance. Luckily and ironically, May is saved by the true villain, Spiral. While May's been doing a Marty McFly, Spiral's been more like Doc Brown, rebuilding his time machine. So finally, Spidey and the Torch listen to May's story and go and check out that sudden explosion of Lime energy. Spiral's actually been waiting for May. Turns out her added weight had thrown them from the path to Spiral's home dimension and stranded both in the past. He needs to take her back and start all over again. Two spiders and a torch battle the high-tech terror Spiral, but he decrees how Spider-Girl should help him. After all, he is her only ticket back home. Torch doesn't believe it though. He wants to take both of these future fools into custody, but first, he asks Spider-Man what he thinks they should do. In a move that stuns May, her father's past self chooses to trust her, something she's no longer used to him doing since she got her spider powers. Pete mugs the Torch as Spider-Girl and Spiral both make like a tree and get out of there. And once they safely land back in MC2, Spider-Girl follows her dad's heroic example and clocks Spiral good, refusing to let him leave after all the crimes he's done in her time. Butthead. Seeing how much her parents have grown as people since they were her age gives May a new respect and understanding of her mum and dad. And after all this, with her parents finally on her side, the future is looking bright for Spider-Girl. Dude, the saga continues. Finally, May is convinced her father she needs to use her great powers responsibly. Tell you what, so far we've struck a nice balance between Mayday, Spider-Girl, and Spider-Man. We've seen development with May's personal life, like her mates at school. Genuinely, Moose is the best character there. He should defo do in Jimmy, because he's just annoying, and the Courtney mistaken identity thing is quite funny. Spider-Girl faced her own problems regarding convincing Peter, dealing with Darkdevil's tests, and taking down villains who she'd recently had trouble with. Mr. Nobody and Crazy 8 teamed up and she still kicked their asses. They're doing a good job of showing May getting better and better. And as for the Spider-Man parts, Peter's gonna have to grow to accept his daughter being in danger, so it's best he himself prepares her for it. 11 issues in, but there's still a ton of unanswered questions in the life of Mayday Parker. Who, or what, is Darkdevil? Just what is the Kingpin of Crime planning? Can May earn the respect of her fellow heroes? And what new threats are waiting to strike? We're gonna have to find out next time on Spider-Girl.